Shockwaves were sent through the NFL world this morning when Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns requested a trade saying he wants to win a Super Bowl. Could that mean the Buffalo Bills target Myles Garrett in a trade? Say, hey, we could use Myles Garrett on the defensive line here in Buffalo. We'll talk about that on today's show. What's up, Bills fans? You're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith. And guys, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers right here on the channel. It's a new channel we're starting here at Chat Sports, and we need your help. We're less than 200 subs away. 166. If we find 166 diehard Buffalo Bills fans to subscribe to today's show, then we'll be right there at 1,000, and we'll be well on our way to becoming one of Chat Sports' elite channels. So here is what Myles Garrett posted on his Twitter account this morning. This was the official statement from him. Like, this didn't come from an insider. This didn't come from anybody. This came straight from the horse's mouth. Myles Garrett saying this. He said, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made me one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man I am today. La, 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 la. While I've loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It has always been to compete for and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. And this is kind of what he was talking about in that message. Browns GM Andrew Berry previously had stated that we're going to get Myles Garrett from Cleveland to Canton. And he kind of pushed back on that and said, no, not so fast. I am here to win a Super Bowl and build my legacy as a champion, and I don't see that happening here in Cleveland. Here's a tweet from Adam Schefter from a couple of days ago, actually, where Andrew Berry has been very vocal about not trading Myles Garrett in the past. He told a couple of Big Browns insiders, Mary Kay Cabot and Akron Jackson, that he will not trade Myles Garrett this season. It's off the table, no matter what Cleveland is offered. And here's what came out today from Jeremy Fowler of the Worldwide Leader. It says, sources on the Browns' stance and Myles Garrett's trade request, quote, nothing has changed. Team has publicly said it has no plans to trade Myles Garrett. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think that this is going to happen. I think Myles Garrett will be traded. You don't want to hold a player, especially a player of his caliber, hostage in Cleveland and make him upset and basically say that other free agents and other players shouldn't want to sign with Cleveland either, because they'll do you dirty like they'd be doing with Myles Garrett. And if they do make a trade, it's going to cost a lot, man, because he is one of the premier players in this league. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive players of this generation, and he's a walking 14-plus sacks every single season. When's the last time the Bills had a guy like Myles Garrett on the roster, man? It's been a long time. We're talking about Kyle Williams. We're talking about legitimately, as far as pass rushers go, like Bruce Smith is the caliber of player that we're talking about here. I am not being hyperbolic when I say this. Myles Garrett is an absolute freak. And as far as what Chat Sports people here at the company said would be their compensation coming back projected for Myles Garrett, 2 first-round picks, 1 this year, 1 next year, and a 3rd-round pick in 2026 as well. And the other team would just get Myles Garrett back. We'll talk about a potential trade proposal to Buffalo and a trade that we saw a couple of years ago that is eerily similar to what I think would be the return for 95. But I want to go to this tweet real quick from Ari Meirov of My Sports Update. He says, reporter to GM Andrew Berry last week. He said, if someone sees you at dinner and says, well, we'll give you 2 firsts for Myles, do you say, I'm not interested? Andrew Berry says, correct, and you can put that on the record. So it's going to take a lot for somebody to trade for Myles Garrett. I think that they're playing a little hardball, trying to be a tough guy right now and say that, we're still not trading Garrett, but eventually he is going to get moved. Expected to be closer to the draft as more teams are zeroing in on which prospect that they're liking and which spots and which ranges in the draft. But I think Buffalo can make a big splash deal here. What do you guys think? Should the Bills trade for Myles Garrett? I think he would be an awesome addition to this defense and a player that Buffalo fans would be flocking towards and being utter super fans of if they saw him suit up in Orchard Park every Sunday. So type T for trade, type P for pass. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws you a little ad break here, go down below and answer today's pinned comment. Absolutely, they should. Absolutely. What? This is a no-brainer move. Like, Myles Garrett's a Hall of Fame player. He's one of the best pass rushers. You could argue he's the best pass rusher of this decade. And we've heard a quote in the past from GM Brandon Beane that says he would like a player like a Myles Garrett. He said, I don't know how many teams that are going to hand you a Chris Jones or a quote-unquote game wrecker. They're probably sewn up. Would I love to add one of those guys? Heck yeah, I would. Well, Myles Garrett is the game wrecker Buffalo needs. I mean, as far as they haven't had a player, like I said, they have not had a player of his caliber on this roster, on this defensive front for decades. Like, Mario Williams was great. Kyle Williams, that duo was awesome. Like, Marcel Darius was great. But, like, let's be honest here. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer pass rusher we're talking about, and clearly Buffalo just doesn't have that on their roster right now. If you look at the depth chart on the team, I know you guys are all very familiar. I know the people of Buffalo are tapped in with every string of their roster, no matter who is on the team. So you guys obviously know who's out there. Like Greg Rousseau, is he great? I would say he's good. He's a great edge setter in the run game, and I just don't think his pressure and his pressure to sack ratio are all that great as of right now. Obviously, you have Ed Oliver who can make plays in both the pass and the run, and Epinesa is a solid pass rusher as well. But at the end of the day, like, this unit just didn't perform getting to the quarterback in the postseason. And naturally, that's going to happen, right? But you're playing better offensive lines. You're playing quarterbacks who get the ball out quicker. But the Bills only had 6 sacks in the playoffs, and one of those came from DeMar Hamlin, and 2 of them came from Matt Milano. So the defensive front, the guys in the line of scrimmage, only had 3 sacks in the postseason in 3 games. Like, I know you're playing better competition, but let's get to the quarterback here. Like, that would have caused a lot of disruption, especially against Kansas City. We know how good their O-line is, but if you could have had somebody back there, which I guarantee Myles Garrett would have been, then it would have been a totally different story. And the Bills had 0 double-digit sack guys in the regular season. And I'm not saying that sacks are the end-all, be-all, but at the end of the day, shout out to John Gruden. I don't want pressures. I want sacks. Get him on the ground, bro. Like, the Bills didn't have that blue-chip pass rusher. Von Miller has not turned into what they think or what they thought he would be. Obviously, he's an older player right now. He's deteriorating, but he did make a couple plays in the postseason. I like what Von has kind of resurrected himself into at this point. But at the end of the day, what is the main goal for Buffalo? It's to go beat Kansas City. So take the swing of your lifetime, take the big risk. There's not many holes on this roster, and go out there and trade for goddamn Myles Garrett. Like, he is legitimately now sitting in front of you guys. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy to trade with the Browns or anything like that, but he is now on the block. This is official that he is now on the block. And you know what? I think no matter what, unless it's the king's ransom of all king's ransoms where you're giving away 4 first-round picks or something like that, that's the only way I would say it's not worth it. Because this team is building through the draft, especially the first round of the draft. It's over now. They're ready to win here and now. And this is a blue-chip player that you can go out there and literally transform your defense by adding him to that front. And for comparison, go back to 2019 when Khalil Mack got traded to the Chicago Bears. What did they give up? They gave up 2 first-round picks, a third, a sixth, and they actually got back a second and a fifth-round pick. And keep in mind, Khalil Mack was 27 when this deal was made. Myles Garrett's 29. I'm not saying that Mack was a better player than Garrett is at this point. I actually do think that Garrett is the better player. But with his age right now, with him coming up with a new contract soon, this could be a deal that is essentially looking like the framework of what Buffalo could send in a deal to the Browns. But like I said, it's not going to be easy. I would do that in a heartbeat, like no questions asked. But you guys saw the tweets. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to negotiate with Andrew Berry and the Browns. Doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to bring Myles Garrett to town, but if Brandon Beane's true to his word and he would really, really wants a guy like Garrett in town, then you go out there and make the deal. But then you got to ask yourself another question once that happens. Are you going to pay him? Are you willing to pay Myles Garrett? Like, he's going to command a ton of money. After Khalil Mack was traded in that deal, he signed a $141 million extension, I believe, for 5 years. And I think Garrett would see something similar, if not more. I would assume more. And as far as the financials go, trading him, like, as for the Browns and for another team, here's what it comes down to, according to Spotrac. He said a new team would acquire $19.8 million non-guaranteed money for 2025, and 2026, that team would have a $25 million cap hit, non-guaranteed. The Browns would have a dead cap of $36 million, and obviously that wouldn't be great considering the financials that they have on their roster with Watson and all that jazz. But the 29-year-old will be seeking a deal and is currently projecting toward a 4-year, $137 million contract extension. That's a lot. I mean, for a guy who's going to end up being 33, like you're going down a similar path to what you did with Von Miller, albeit that was a 6-year deal, and I know there's outs involved, but it still probably wasn't the best deal that Buffalo should have made. Here is what I came up with, though. It's not much to my imagination. It's actually very similar, if not identical, to what happened in that Khalil Mack trade. And I just decided to throw some years on there, like the 2025 second-round pick, or 2026 second-round pick coming back to Garrett. This is actually like literally verbatim what happened in that Khalil Mack trade. So 2 first-round picks this year and next year, which is what people are saying is going to be the deal. A 3rd-round pick, a 6th-round pick, and you get that 2nd and the 5th back. 5th is conditional, but who cares? At the end of the day, you're getting Myles Garrett, and that's what matters in this trade. Would you guys do it? Let me know, Bills Mafia. Type A for accept, type D for decline on if you think Myles Garrett is worth bringing in if you're giving up all that capital. That'll be it for today's show. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like I said, we're fast approaching 1,000 subscribers here at the Bills Breakdown. I'm trying to be the #1 source on YouTube for Bills news and rumors all offseason and into next season. So make sure you hit that sub button. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Buffalo.